Welcome to another episode of Trade on Tuesdays at 2. I'm Dr. Sarita Jackson, President and CEO of the Global Research Institute of International Trade. Today's session is titled, A Tale of Two International Trade Mindsets. What that means is I'm going to look at two different individuals with whom I've worked and or are currently working that have an interest in exporting from another country to the United States. The first case involves someone that was interested in exporting from the African region to the United States and exporting a particular agricultural product to the U.S. to turn into a final food product and sale here in the United States and eventually later back to the African market. The second case is someone interested in also exporting an agricultural product from the Latin American and Caribbean region to the United States and selling that product here through the United States. But today I'm just going to focus on the first case. In the first case, the individual who became a client was someone who had attended one of my workshops, listened to me talk about the importance of research and planning prior to even starting the export process. Well, after that workshop, we had an opportunity to meet. I learned about that individual's export goals and what the person was trying to do. Well, at that time, I thought, well, this individual would be better served by tapping into some of the complementary resources offered by the government agencies, such as the U.S. Department of Commerce. A year later, I followed up to see how that individual was doing and if the individual started the export process. And the response that I got was, well, no, not necessarily. I was able to meet with some of the individuals that you recommended, collect a lot of information, but I'm still not quite sure how to get started because a lot of the information for me right now is still very generic. So that's where I stepped in and said, okay, now you're ready. Let's develop a plan. Let's conduct the research on, first of all, the research on your resources and capabilities on your particular product and the U.S. market, how your product can compete in the U.S. market and the particular demographics or a particular state that you should target in the beginning of your process. Well, after going through all of that and presenting a final deliverable with the research and the strategy for implementing that process and a roadmap and a timeline for implementing the particular plan that I had laid out, that individual benefited from saving so much time that he would have lost by starting the process and figuring things out as he went along. So that's the benefit of planning, because without a plan, any time can be uncertain for your export strategy. So tune in next Tuesday for Trade on Tuesdays at 2 to hear about the second case and the lessons learned from that particular case and how I'm currently working with this individual to turn things around so that we can start the export process successfully. So my two tips from the first case is, number one, to collect the research on why a certain market is the correct market for your good or service, and make sure that the research aligns with your own resources and capabilities. Then number two, to develop a roadmap and a timeline that is feasible based on, again, your own resources and capabilities. Thank you for tuning in today. Again, I'm Sarita Jackson, President and CEO of GRIT, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Trade on Tuesdays at 2.